Right.
I was gonna say, now what do we start it with?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
hmm Welcome back to us too. We tried to record and then it froze for like 20 seconds.
Yeah. Happy February, everybody. It's
hmm
probably Valentine's time when this is coming out. Um,
Yeah.
so give a good smooch to whoever. And this is pre-recorded. This is episode 2 of our Harry Potter 4-part series. We're recording it pretty much right after the first one.
Mhm.
Uh,
I said
and
I would
these are
watch all of them in a row, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So,
yeah. So we're not. We don't want to miss our window.
yeah.
Uh, so today, if you could believe it, Harry Potter 3 and 4,
Yeah.
Prisoner of Azkaban, and Goblet of Fire. Um, so we'll talk about those and you know have a good old time,
Yeah.
right,
Well,
Tommy?
any little time. I just watched them. Watched 3 and 4 yesterday. They were, I liked them. Again, they were pretty funny. There are some like funny little nitpicks here and there in the movies, which I'll be excited to talk
I think
about.
that's the case with all of them, pretty much.
Yeah. They're like, you know, but they're still a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you just roll right into
Let's
Prisoner of
roll.
Azkaban. So this movie, I think right off the bat, this one just feels completely different from the last two.
Yep.
Do you get that sense? It's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, it's part of it is Dumbledore's not there. Well, I mean, he is,
oh,
but
sure. But I mean, like, the opening in the Dursley's house is like filmed completely differently than the way it is in the first two. You could just
I'm
tell it's like
also
a different director.
I'm like also glad that after the third one, actually, I don't know if I haven't seen the fifth or sixth or seventh two.
Part two.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, but I'm happy that with the fourth one they didn't open it up with the Dursleys again because for 1, 2, and 3, they felt the need to have like a 10-minute segment that shows how
How shitty
horrible
Harry's like.
yeah, and it's like the first time like okay, I get it. Yeah, yeah, this is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
The second time it's literally the same exact thing again. And it's
But
like
with Dobby,
yeah, I'm sorry, but with Dobby, which makes it 10 times better.
better.
And then the third one, they do it exactly again. And I'm I like, just get to the school already. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, in the books, it's like every book starts with the Dursleys. So in 4 and 6, I think are the only ones. Oh, and 8, but they're the only ones that don't start out at the Dursleys' house.
That's insane.
They like, which is fine by me because most of the time there's, um, it does feel like more of the same. But this is like the so you asked like what the consensus for like best Harry Potter movie is. It's pretty much this one for most people that
Really?
I know. Most people say that Prisoner of Azkaban is the best one.
That's
Uh,
insane.
and I think it's because it has like the most like tight story. Like it's very like self-contained and very like straightforward. Like you get it all.
Yeah.
And plus I think the director's just like he's a pretty big Chad. He makes like really good looking movies, and I think this one is like taking
There was
the
one scene in particular that I saw, and I was like, this is a little bit like, felt like a Hitchcock movie where
mm,
we get into it later, obviously, spoilers, but where Lupin turns
well, we
into
don't
the
need to just
werewolf
yeah.
and he zooms in on his eye and then it
Mm,
zooms back out and he's just like you know
yeah.
going crazy. I felt like that was pretty sick, and that was like the
Oh
moment where I
yeah.
could tell like this is definitely like a different director than the first two.
Oh yeah. Um, I think also there's a lot of long takes in this movie. I don't know if you noticed, but there's one in the leaky cauldron where Arthur like pulls Harry aside, and they have this whole conversation about like you know the guy that's trying to murder Harry, and they're kind of just like walking through the whole leaky cauldron, and it's all just like one shot where they keep moving to different areas and the camera's following them. Like, you don't really notice it if you're looking for it, but it is like a cool thing that they're doing with it. So
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why this one just definitely looks a lot better than the first one. Except I will say the werewolf looks really weird.
I
They
agree.
never.
He does. He looks. I mean, he looks like a wolf, but he's skinny as hell.
He's
Like,
really skinny, yeah, right. And he's really tall,
yeah, it was a
and
little
like
weird
it's
considering how
very.
like normal looking Lupin looks.
Hmm.
Him as a werewolf looks so weird.
Yeah.
And also, he's
Um.
the same guy who turns into Ares. This is the
Yeah.
second time he's been in a movie where at the end he turns into something else.
Turns into a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So I also think like this is the one where they're starting to become like actually good at acting a little bit. I
Mhm.
mean, there's some parts where it's like, oh, like there's one where like Harry's like, he was that friend. It's like, okay, you're
He,
you're
I
doing it. You're
also
doing
when
it.
he when he's saving like Sirius and the past Harry from the Dementors, and he just like yells super dramatically,
Oh yeah.
"Expecto Patronum!" And it's like, okay, like you don't need to overdo it. Like if I was Hermione, I'd be like, ooh, cringe. You know?
Oh, kind of cringe, bro. No, you know what I like about this movie though is that Harry actually does magic in it.
Yeah, he does. This is like one of the first movies he does. Well, not the. I mean, it literally isn't the first movie, but it's
Yeah.
like it's the first one where he does it like more than the others.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, also, you know what's really cool about this movie? One little
Hmm.
direct thing I noticed was when it was in Lupin's. They were in Lupin's class, and there was the boggart or whatever it was in
Oh
the
yeah.
chest,
Yeah.
and then he puts the record on, and then like it's just each kid doing their different thing.
Yeah.
I thought
That
that
part's
like
so fun.
yeah, that was such a fun part. I
Yeah.
have to say, definitely, I'm gonna say I think Lupin is the most Chad character of this movie.
I do love
I
Lupin.
was
It
so
is.
sad that he left. I was like, oh, or like, I'm sorry. Like the parents are gonna be angry that I'm a werewolf. And I'm like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably right, but
So wait, did you not know that there's a different Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher every year in this series?
um, I after the third one, because in the Lupin, like in the third in this one, I was like, if there's a new teacher, like if he leaves, then there's probably just gonna be a new one every year. So,
There's a book explanation for it, which is
is it a good explanation?
I mean it's an explanation.
Okay.
It's just that I don't know if it's canon in the movies because they're kind of diverged sometimes, but like in the book, Voldemort applies for the Defense Against the Dark Art job after he graduates,
Oh shit.
and Dumbledore tells him to fuck off, and he puts a curse on the job, so no teacher can last more than a year doing it.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I love
that's
that explanation, but it makes sense.
yeah. I mean, we can kind of talk more about that stuff in the next episode when we talk about Half Blood Prince because it's more to do with that. But yeah, I think this movie definitely has like I think this one's just like easily more fun than the first two to watch. It's like because it feels like it's so much less like build up and set up because like we kind of get it and we can just hit the ground running already.
Yeah,
And there's
you
just a
kind
lot
of
of
just
fun
get there.
stuff. Like the night bus when they're just riding on the night bus. That's a really fun sequence. And when he's
Mhm.
riding around on Buckbeak and the whole time travel thing, I gotta say, this is like one of my favorite uses of time travel in a
Because it's
movie.
so simple. It is
It's
literally
so
like
simple.
the whole movie isn't about time travel. They're just like, oh yeah, by the way, she was time traveling, which
Hmm.
was it was kind of like not really out of nowhere, but like it made sense.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, yeah, so they're just gonna go back in time real quick and then just fix this thing. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
and it's cool, when you see it like in the timeline, it already happened. So like
hmm
as you're watching it for the first time, you're like, oh, that's where that rock was from. Oh, that's what
yeah,
did that. Like that's what's cool about this is like as you're watching it, especially if you're watching it for the first time, you're like, oh, and it all makes sense because it's like I guess how the Harry Potter time travel works is like it always happens. Like the time travel, there's never a timeline where it didn't happen,
I
which
also
makes
love
it
how
a
they
lot
make
simpler.
I love how they make Dumbledore like so smart because like he tells Hermione to go back in time, and then they go back in time, and like as they're trying to get Buckbeak out, um, Dumbledore is what's it? He's distracting the people from killing Buckbeak while they're trying to
Oh
get him
yeah.
away
Hmm.
because so he knows that before he even told them he knew that they were going to go back
Right.
in
Yeah.
time, which is like the most five-head thing in the world. It's insane.
The five-head thing. I like when we get to see Hermione deck Draco Malfoy from a second angle.
Yeah. So one of the things about Malfoy, like, and this is in the fourth movie too, he's like constantly berating Harry, Hermione, and Ron, but there's not a single time, like once, where he isn't dunked on by them. Like in every single instance, he like starts pissing his pants and then runs away. And
Yeah.
then like the next time he sees him, like, "Hey Potter," and then it's like, "What?" You're like, you've literally been showed up every single
know.
time, and you're still gonna. He has
He
some
literally-
ego. It's
Yeah,
like,
he always gets fucked over. He always gets like blasted. Like he never wins.
It's so funny, but he just like keeps doing it.
He's always munching on an apple too. He's always in the corner like chewing on an apple. You're like, look at
Really?
this fucking asshole. I don't know. Maybe it's just in this movie, but I know in Prisoner of Azkaban he's always eating a green apple.
Huh.
And the
What
Buckbeak thing is totally his fucking fault. He egged the thing on. And
Yeah,
it
he's always
scratched it.
like,
And then he's like, what
"You'll
the
wait
fuck?
to
It's
hear
wild.
my father says about this." Yeah, we haven't really talked about Malfoy that much as a character. He's kind of just like that prick.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
kind of all
bully.
he is in the first several movies.
Mm-hmm. I think the next movie he's like barely in. He's not in Goblet of Fire much either, but he definitely like feels like he's there. But the next movie is like can't remember more than a couple scenes that he is like actually in.
In Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah. But I like
Yeah,
him.
it's
I think
weird,
Tom
like-
Felton is good as him.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, as like watching them or like remembering the books and the movies, I'm like, oh yeah, Malfoy's like a pretty big character, but he's just not. Like, he is.
Yeah.
in it.
He's
Like,
big in the sixth
barely.
movie, and that's the one that he has the most screen time in.
Mhm.
I mean, he has a lot. There's a lot that happens regarding him, but he's like not physically in the movie that much.
He's basically Harry's wand.
Yeah, right.
He's like, he's not really used that much. But yeah, anyways, Sirius Black is also in this movie.
Oh, he's a great
Um,
character too. I like Gary Oldman a lot, and he's cool.
Oh shit! I didn't realize it was Gary Oldman.
Yeah, it totally
Oh,
is.
wow.
I know.
Huh.
I remember
That's really
I
cool.
recently, like not recently, but a few years ago, watched this movie, and the cast list came on, and I was like, "That's Commissioner Gordon." Like, I had no fucking idea that was
That's
him.
Meg.
Yeah, that's Meg. Surprised you knew that. That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, he's pretty great. I think it was really funny because when he finally shows himself off, Harry's like, "Let me at him, let me at him," and then like,
Why I oughta.
and then like 3 minutes. I swear to God, 3 minutes go by, and Harry's like, I think I want to live with you. And, like,
Yeah.
just
You know what else is funny is like Sirius is like Ron's or Harry or whoever is like it's like don't kill him, don't kill Harry, and Sirius is like only one is gonna die tonight, and it's like why are you talking like that? Like
Yeah,
why
I
are you
agree.
trying to scare the shit
So-
out of these kids?
when it was Lupin and Sirius, and they were like, they knew that they were gonna kill Ron's rat, who was Peter Pettigrew. They were
Mhm.
talking so like mysteriously when they could have just been like, no, we're not gonna kill you, Harry.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's the rat.
You did nothing to reassure the kids.
And they were literally just like, oh, we're gonna kill somebody, and then he's like, no, don't kill me. He's like, oh, who are we gonna kill? And then they were fucking with them.
They're like, I'm gonna get you. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna get you. What else is funny is that Expelliarmus, the spell, works completely
Expelliarmus.
differently sometimes. Like Harry hits Lupin with Expelliarmus and the wand flies out of his hand, and then Snape walks in and Harry does Expelliarmus on Snape and he blasts Snape like, through 2 walls.
Yeah. He gets Snape a new one. Here. Yeah, Snape. How do you feel about Snape? He's also in this movie, as most characters
Mhm.
are. And he kind of gets dunked on by Harry too. Like he's just
To be fair with Snape, unlike Malfoy, Snape usually does the dunking on Harry. So
This
it's
is
a little
true.
change of pace.
yeah.
I mean, I just love Snape. I just think he's like one of the best castings in the
Yeah,
series. And
I love his voice.
I know. I just really like when he's on screen. Like he's really fun. And I I think the one thing about this movie, and again, not to constantly compare it to the book or whatever, but they do leave out like a big part of the books, which is like the whole thing around the Marauders map. And like, do they even say that Harry's dad made it in the movie? I can't even remember.
No, so they I remember because I'd read the books, and I when watching this movie, they said like Padfoot, Wormtail, and then the whatever the
Prongs
other
and
the other names.
Mooney.
And I remember from the book, it was like, oh yeah, those were like the childhood friends with Harry's dad. But they didn't ever say that in the book.
They didn't. Lupin like alludes to it, like he's like, "Oh, I know where that came from" or whatever. But they never like fully explain like that his dad actually made it and like how they got the nicknames and like, the whole thing with they became like animals so they could be around Lupin without him eating him and all that shit. They just completely leave it out.
Oh shit, I didn't realize that. You know what else they didn't explain? Oh yeah, you know what they did? They definitely did explain this, but they kind of just like whisked by this. What was like the whole reason why Pettigrew sold out Harry's? Like, how did that whole thing work?
Yeah, okay. So it's a little different in the book, but in the movie explanation is just that Peter Pettigrew was so afraid of Voldemort that he just betrayed the Potters.
So, but like, how did that work? Did Voldemort like specifically want the Potters, and then he was said to Pettigrew,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna kill you," and then Pettigrew said, "No, I know where the Potters are. You can get them instead."
I think Peter actually went to Voldemort and said, "Oh, I know where they are," like because he was just so afraid.
Voldemort want the Potters?
The prophecy that is made in Order of the Phoenix. So there's a prophecy
cool. So
that has
I'll
to do
find it
with like a child born at the end of July, and it applies to Harry. So he wants to kill them before like any of that can happen, but he doesn't like read the whole prophecy. So it's like a whole thing. Yeah, and we'll talk about that more in next episode too. But yeah, in the book it's a little different where it's like there's a spell that they put on Peter Pettigrew to make him a secret keeper, which is that he's the only person who can reveal the location of where the Potters are. Like no other person who knows where they are can physically do it because of the spell. And then he ends up betraying it to Voldemort, but everyone thinks that the Potters made Sirius their secret keeper, so that's why they put him in Azkaban.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, sorry. Did you say that's why they put Sirius in Azkaban?
Yeah, because everyone thought that they made Sirius their secret keeper when they actually made it Peter Pettigrew.
Okay.
Because they thought people would know they would pick Sirius, so they picked Peter Pettigrew.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes
Peter
sense.
Pettigrew's a pussy.
Tell him. Hey, Pettigrew, if you're watching, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, bro. But yeah, so again with this movie, like I like this one also because it's like it's fun to just like it feels like we're going to class with them a lot. Like we go to the magical creatures class and then we go to divination.
Magical mystery tour, yeah.
Yeah. And I really like that Harry is like he's really shaken by the Dementors, so he like goes out of his way to find or like seek out the Patronus charm. And has like those extracurricular lessons with Lupin. I think all that's really, really cool. I enjoy that kind of stuff of like Harry actively trying to be a better wizard. And the fact that it's like, that it's like everyone expects his boggart to be Voldemort, but it's the Dementor.
Yeah, well, he also like doesn't know what Voldemort looks like. So
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, this one was pretty solid. I definitely in a toss up between which one I like more. I don't know. I think this one, the first one, are both really good. I think this one's probably the better movie, but the first one does so much like for the series that it's hard to put stuff over. I don't know. I enjoyed both of them. I'll figure out my ranking at a later point, but this movie was real good. And how did it end? It ended. Oh, you know what? Also, they did. This is the third movie in a row where there's a new fastest broom. In the first one, it was the Nimbus 2000, and then just wait. In the second one, Malfoy goes, no. I have the
Nimbus
Nimbus
2001.
2001. And then in the third one, Harry's like, I see your Nimbus 2001, and I raise you a firebolt. Um, and yeah, they use their brooms. I don't know.
They do use the brooms. Yeah, I guess like this one's also like there is a Quidditch match in it, but it's not like a huge long scene like the first two are. Like it's like it really just exists to get Harry thrown off the broom.
Yep.
And then have it break or
Yeah,
whatever.
who was fucking with his broom? Or was
No
anybody
one.
fucking?
It was he saw the clouds make the dog, like the clouds shaped like a dog, and he
Yeah, the
learned in
werewolf.
divination that meant he was gonna like fucking die. So he fell off. And then the Dementors came. What am I talking about? Then the Dementors like were inside the school and Dumbledore was all pissed. Oh, but to talk about Dumbledore, like, do you like this Dumbledore more than the previous one?
It's tough. I think honestly both are great. Yeah, I'm gonna say both are great. Both are Chads.
Yeah, I think they're both like they both kind of exemplify different things about Dumbledore. Like this one seems more like a badass wizard. Like I can't imagine the other guy doing this kind of shit,
Yeah.
but like the other
The
one's
other
like got
one
that
seemed
more
a little
like
bit more wise.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
This Dumbledore is a little bit of a fucker, especially when you get to like the fourth and fifth movies. He's like, it's kind of a little stinker. This Dumbledore. But yeah, I like this one. You know, there's a lot of, it's pretty like there's not many things that go nowhere. Like everything pretty much ends up mattering.
Pretty tight. It's a pretty tight movie. And you know what else I thought was funny? There's one scene. Oh, it was when they thought Buckbeak died, and there was this Hermione. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you just take a long pause?
No, I didn't.
Oh shit.
Wow, whatever.
Oh fuck.
Are we good?
I don't know.
Oh.
Nope, just keep talking. We're good.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Bro.
So anyway, there was this part where the axe came down, and Hermione like turns to Ron and like hugs him and whatever, and you could tell like Ron's a little bit like, yeah, like she came to me, and then Harry like it's just Hermione and Ron like hugging, and then Harry like goes from behind and like starts hugging Hermione. It's just so awkward. And then like Ron, you can see he like looks at Harry and then looks back.
Oh yeah, actually the kids really look 13. I know they are 13, but they really look like 13-year-old kids in this movie. And like the way they walk around, it's like, oh yeah, you kids are awkward middle school age for sure.
Yeah, they do a lot of awkward shit.
Poor guys. Yeah, but I like everything with Sirius and Lupin and Hagrid. This is a fun watch. This one's very easy to like. I feel there's not much that's like
it's good.
There's not much that's boring or whatever. So Chad.
Yeah, I'll give it a Chad too.
Goblet of Fire is a more interesting movie in a lot of ways because it's a really
say that. It's
weird Harry Potter movie. I enjoy it, right? I like this movie a good amount, probably more than most people do.
So going into it, like, you know how I said I have an idea about which Harry Potter movie I thought was the fan favorite? I thought it was Goblet of Fire.
Oh, no.
I don't know why I thought it was Goblet of Fire. Maybe it's just people think that's the best book. I don't know.
I do think the book's a lot more popular because there's a lot cut out for the movie. And I don't really have a problem with it because I'm fine with the movies being kind of different. But yeah, from what I know, most people think Goblet is one of the weaker ones. But like I said, really? Do you know what I mean? Where I'm like, every movie in the series is pretty much Like there's no huge sharp changes in good or bad. Like they're all pretty consistent quality wise. At
Yeah,
least
no,
as of
they're all
now.
pretty consistent.
Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so this one, Hogwarts is having a fucking tournament. Oh, and we open in the
Hosting the Fortnite Invitational.
yeah. We're in this one we're having the Quidditch World Cup, and that's where Harry is going at the beginning of the movie, and we have Batman going with them, Robert Pattinson,
Hmm.
my boy. Um, and so yeah, there's more. I think this is kind of the last one in the series that's like a more lighthearted, like fun movie. The rest of them start getting pretty like serious because of that. What happens at the end of this movie.
Yeah, I'd say this is the turning point where like I wouldn't say this is more of a lighthearted movie. It's kind of like lighthearted for a while and then it takes a turn. And then the rest of the series is kind of like that.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I was turning something off. Uh, yeah, and so this movie, to kind of start, I'm not really talking about the movie, like kind of an anecdote. This movie is it's got one of the most brutal scenes to watch, in my opinion, because of how absolutely realistic and painful it is to me.
Hey, hold on, can I guess what scene it is?
You can guess, yeah.
Is it the one where Harry and I forget her name, the girl are like walking and then they like both go one way and then she just like takes him and then they both turn?
No, it is not. It is
Okay.
it is the scene between Harry and Cho Chang where Harry asks her to the Yule Ball and she says no
Yeah.
because in high school I had a very similar situation happen to me, almost word for word, and it really hurts to watch. Like
uh,
it's so the way Harry reacts and he's like, "Oh, yeah,
yeah, that's
cool."
fine.
Like it hits me like a solid sheet of ice through the heart because it is so fucking like too brutal. Reminds me way too fucking much of it. Oh, also this is the year where no one gets a fucking haircut. Did you notice that? Everyone's got really
Yeah,
long.
yeah, they everybody's got long hair. And I mean, hey, good for them.
Yeah,
But
none
they
of
don't
it
look
looks
too great.
good.
No, it really doesn't. Um yeah, sorry, what's her name's what's the girl's name again?
Cho Chang.
Cho Chang. Okay. Yeah, cuz she was like barely in the movie, but like in the beginning, they like showed like a scene where Harry smiles at her, then she smiles back, and like, okay, this might, develop into something. She'll probably be a
Oh yeah.
bigger character. And then they have the exact same scene later on, but it's actually pretty funny. Like Harry smiles, but then like a bunch
Oh,
of like
he squirts the
juice
water
comes,
out of his mouth.
yeah, a bunch of juice comes out, and that's actually pretty funny. And
Mm-hmm.
then he gets rejected to the ball, and then that's it. That's
Yeah.
kind of it of her. She's like she goes to the ball with somebody else, and then is in like she's captured and drowning underwater.
Yeah.
But then that's it. Like,
She does come back in the next movie.
yeah, I was just like in this movie, she didn't really do all that much.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, I'm trying to think.
Ron's a little fucker in this movie, isn't
He is a little bit of a bitch. He like
he?
he's kind of like Harry's just like, no, I didn't put my name in the fucking goblet, and then
Yeah.
Ron's like, out.
It's like, why did you believe me about literally everything else? You believed me when I said there was a snake killing people in the school, and you believed me when I said like my godfather was like innocent, but like now you don't believe me.
It's just like
He's very upset.
I don't know. And then like everybody, not even that, but like everybody in the school hates him. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is the kid who saved the school twice,
Mm-hmm.
and like both of his parents are dead. His
Yeah.
family hates him,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody's just walking around with these buttons that say Potter fucking sucks. And it's like, nice job, guys. Like
Yeah.
you're on the right
Wow.
side of history.
Yeah. Draco gets turned into a little weasel too. Which is,
Yeah, and he has fun down Crab's pants.
oh yeah.
That was a weird scene.
What do you think of Mad Eye Moody?
He's a little bit weird, but wasn't that just Barty Crouch Jr. the entire time.
Yeah. Barty Crouch
Yeah, so
Jr.
the reason I didn't understand that scene was like the whole purpose of that guy being there was that he was going to reveal information about the Death Eaters.
Mhm.
So Barty Crouch Jr., being a Death Eater, goes to that hearing and just sits there being like, I'll probably be fine. And then he's just like, I know. And then like 3 times he goes, I know, I can say who a Death Eater is. No reaction from Barty Crouch. And the last time he's like, I know who a
I
Death
gotta
Eater
go.
is. And then yeah, he just suspiciously starts walking up, and then he like falls over like several chairs. It's a pretty weird scene, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Also, so this movie is like, it's kind of funny because it's the plot of the movie is like there's going to be 3 tasks. We didn't even talk about how there's 2 other schools at Hogwarts now, but yeah, there's the Durmstrang School and the Beauxbatons Academy, which is like the French school.
Mhm.
And they both come, and each school there's a champion chosen from, and they all participate in like this series of challenges or whatever. And so Cedric gets chosen from Hogwarts, Fleur gets chosen for Beauxbatons, Victor gets chosen from
Victor
Durmstrang.
Crumb, the best seeker in the world.
Yeah. And then Harry's name mysteriously shoots out of the Goblet of Fire. Who put it there? Uh, Gee, I wonder if it's the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher not being correct, not being right. Something's wrong with the new guy. But wait, what? What was I saying?
You were talking about Harry's name in the goblet.
Oh yeah. So yeah, then he has to do the series of challenges. And what I find funny is like you would think the movie's like, okay, it's gonna be segmented. Challenge 1, challenge 2, challenge 3, end of movie, right?
Mhm.
But it's really like challenge 1. Wait, I don't remember if it's before or after this.
Challenge. No, there's 4 challenges. The first challenge is the dragon. The
Yeah.
second challenge is getting a date to the ball.
Yeah.
And then the
So,
third challenge, and it keeps going.
but that's what I mean. It's like the first challenge is like a good chunk of the movie. Then it's like Yule Ball, bigger chunk of the movie. Then second task, and then third task. Like second task is like squeaked in there really quickly.
Yeah, Harry eats some fish shit from Neville, and yeah,
and he turns into a guppy.
yeah. So the Yule Ball thing took up so much time, and it was so unnecessary. Like
Yeah.
literally everything
It's
about
there for
that.
the teen shenanigans. I kind of find it weird that there's like that wizard rock band that's playing.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but I'm like, I guess that
It
works.
reminded me
You
of
know?
like the part in Return of the Jedi, you know, the at the very beginning with the people in Jabba's palace sing Jedi Rocks.
No, I don't know that.
Oh,
I
you don't?
remember them singing, but it was like, I'm not gonna do
Jedi
it.
Rocks.
Oh, that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what that reminds me of. And then you have Hermione's like reveal in her dress, and everyone's like, "Wow, Hermione's like,
You could hear like
yeah."
the stage audience.
Oh,
And she's 14. So
Ron
like
picks his jaw up off the floor.
steam's coming out of Harry's ears.
Yes.
Um,
Seamus Finnegan's over in the corner drooling.
so one of the weird parts about that was she goes to Victor Crumb, which was like whatever. Like I don't really understand why,
Yeah.
but I guess the whole point is to show that like Ron's interested and she's interested in Ron. But there's this weird scene where she's talking to Harry, and
I know exactly what scene you're talking about. I know
and
exactly what scene you're talking
he's
about.
like, "Oh, how's Victor Crumb?" He's like, "Oh, it's fine. He's more physical than I imagined." Then they both laugh. And he goes, "Not like that. He just watches me study." I'm like, "What?" Like, think about the person who wrote this line and said, "Yeah, you 14-year-old girl, please say this."
He's also 18, Victor Crumb, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
17
it
or
was a bit
whatever.
whack. That was a weird line, and I was,
Oh, but I thought you were talking about a different part. I thought you were
what's
talking
that?
about there's a very odd line from Hermione, and I've always thought it was super weird. It's Ron and her get into like a fight or whatever, and she's like mad at him, and he storms upstairs. This is at the Yule Ball. And then Harry walks in because he was outside. And Hermione looks at him and she goes, "Off to bed, both of you." And then, like, off to bed? On whose authority, Hermione? You were the same age as these two. And Harry didn't even do anything wrong. And you're yelling at him. I've just always thought of off to bed. That's so weird. Just a 14-year-old girl telling a 14-year-old boy to go to bed.
That's pretty insane. Yeah, no, thinking about it, like, just calling. Imagine if, like, that's the authority she, like, said to Victor Crumb.
Yeah.
Like,
off to tells Dumbledore to go to bed. Hermione could have defeated Voldemort by telling him to go to bed.
I'm sorry, Dumbledore. It's time for you to go to bed.
Sorry, Voldemort.
You can see Donnie Trump. You are Voldemort.
But yeah, the Yule Ball.
That's a pretty shitty. Yeah, it's weird because, like, so much of that is just so unnecessary.
Sure.
I felt like I was just like, I don't know. I don't know why they added it, but it was whatever. And back to the dragon scene, and then we'll move on. We were talking about how, like, it's known that Harry doesn't like to use his wand, and so Harry learns that it's dragons, and he goes to Mad-Eye Moody, and he's like, "What the fuck do I do, dude?" And then Mad-Eye Moody, he goes, "You're allowed one thing, a wand." And I'm like, okay, we're gonna see what the hell Harry can do. He goes into the dragon's pit, and he uses his wand to do one thing,
Get something
which
that's
is
not a wand.
to get his broom and then ride off. And
look, man, at least he cast a spell.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I can't get too mad at him. But seriously, it was like, really, like, we have not seen one actual, like, we could have seen what he did to, like, somehow fuck over the dragon with his wand. Nope, he just uses his broom again.
You know what scene I actually quite like?
What's that?
Which is kind of funny because, like, in terms of, like, the movie as a whole, it makes it kind of weird. But the scene where they're in class for Defense Against the Dark Arts with Mad-Eye Moody, and he's showing them all the unforgivable curses with the spider. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
I also
thought that was a cool way to show that. And, like, when he's torturing the one and, like, making Neville all uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good hint at Neville's parents. But yeah, I like that scene. What's kind of funny about it, though, is, like, Barty Crouch Jr. is pretending to be Mad-Eye Moody, right? But he's actually being, like, a pretty good teacher for most of the movie. Yeah,
that's why, I don't know. It was weird. I mean, I guess that's their point. They wanted to get, like, people to know that he was Mad-Eye Moody because he was going to act exactly like him. But then it's like, oh, it was him the whole time. I mean, I get why they would do the twist, but, like, logically, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, considering how big
it's
of
like you're actually
role.
Training these kids to be better wizards.
Yeah.
What you want?
Yeah, if anything, he should have teach them, like, to do these spells, right?
Yeah. I guess Dumbledore probably wouldn't let him.
That scene was pretty sick, and
also when Dumbledore screams at Harry and he's like, "Harry, did you put your name on the Goblet of Fire?" Just one of the others started.
Yeah, he, like, literally starts strangling Harry Potter.
He lunges at Harry.
He lunges. I thought he was gonna go for a smooch. Harry, did you put their name in the Goblet of Fire? But then, like, also the weird part when they find out that, like, it was not Harry to put it in, they could, it's like, okay, he's not 17. These are incredibly dangerous tasks. As they said, why they can't allow people under 17. They could have, like, taken 1 second and be like, you know what? We're not gonna put Harry in. But then they're just like, fuck it. What could happen?
Yeah, Snape says we should just let the events unfold, and then Dumbledore's like, yeah, I agree.
Like, yeah, you'd think that, like, if somebody mysteriously put Harry's name in, then that's probably not a good sign, right? But they're just like,
maybe
whatever.
Someone wants him to do exactly what you're letting him do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the first task is fun, but I don't get why the dragon needed to chase him through the entire school.
Yeah, the dragon. I agree. That seems a little bit too long. Like I get it that he's running away from a dragon. Like, you know. But then yeah, the second test kind of goes by quick. Harry saves another girl, gets a little smooch. And then
That
the
one's
third.
kind of the second task is kind of. First of all, Harry jumps out of the water like a dolphin, which I don't understand.
Yeah,
jumps into the water,
he
and then
goes in. Then 10 seconds were wasted from my life, or he jumps back out and says, "Yeah," and then goes back in.
He literally breaches like a dolphin. It's very odd. But that task is kind of cool because it's like all dark and you don't know what's really down there. And I do like it's a good moment for Harry where he like doesn't want to leave all the other people down there, even though he like learns that they would have been fine. But it says a lot about Harry.
He's Mr. Good Guy.
Yeah,
he's definitely the protagonist.
Yeah, and then he saves Ron and Fleur's little sister because she couldn't complete the task or whatever, and he gets second place out of it, which is cool. Mm-hmm. Glad that the Hogwarts professors are finally rewarding the fact that sometimes their malicious games aren't completely clear. So Harry was actually showing initiative and not being stupid.
Yeah, it's like sometimes there are more important things than winning the silly little Potter games or Wizard games.
In the book too, you read that part and it's like Harry's like, God, where is Ron and Hermione? Like, I really need their help, and neither of them are anywhere to be found. And he does not see them again till the bottom of the lake, and then he's like, oh, like that's where they are.
That's where you guys were.
That's where you went off to.
He gets there, guys. Puts the hand on. But yeah, then what happens between this challenge and then the third one? Because I honestly cannot remember.
I believe that's when Harry goes into the pensieve after the second challenge, because the pensieve.
Oh, the bowl.
Yeah, the bowl.
I almost just slammed my head into the mic.
He finds Barty Crouch like dead in the Forbidden Forest with Hagrid.
Yeah, senior.
Yeah, and then he goes into Dumbledore's office, and then he goes in the memory and finds out about like Barty Crouch Jr. and all that stuff. And then I think we pretty much go right into the third task, unless I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, I might be, but it's probably not important. But then the third task happens, and they're in a maze.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, so how does what's his name, Victor Crumb, get bewitched? Victor Crumb.
How does he get brainwashed? I think Moody just did it.
Okay.
On the side.
I believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, they go into the maze, and then we haven't even like talked. Okay, so we did miss a couple funny things in this movie. God, there's a lot to talk about in this one. Jesus, I keep forgetting things that like were a big deal. So going back before the second task, Harry gets the golden egg and can't figure out what to do with it. So Cedric tells him to. Okay, first of all, Harry gives Cedric like the most straightforward thing. Hey, we're gonna be facing dragons in the first task.
Yeah.
Cedric's like, oh shit, okay, thank you. Cedric like gives Harry this fucking riddle where he's like, just take it into the bath and mull things over, and maybe, I don't know, let the water do the what? Like, just tell him to open the egg underwater. What are you doing? Yeah. Or just tell him what the task is, since you know it. Harry told you that it's just dragons. Why are you being like this? And then he goes into the bath and Moaning Myrtle spies on his junk.
Yeah, that was a really weird scene. Harry's just kind of chilling, and I'm just like, okay, this is weird, watching a shirtless 14-year-old boy in the bath. But then
nice
they had
bathtub.
to make it. Yeah, it's a very nice bathtub. It's fucking gigantic. I can't believe that he was the only one there.
Yeah.
But then they had to make it more weird by having this girl start, literally trying to get Harry's she wanted
she's trying to see
some.
Harry's wand.
Yeah. She's trying to Avada his Kedavra.
But yeah. So then Harry figures it out or whatever. And then Harry has like a midlife crisis because he can't figure out how to breathe underwater, which I think is fun. That he's like,
Yeah.
Neville, I really don't want to hear about plants right now. Like, I don't know how to breathe underwater, and it's really kind of upsetting me.
I think that was also like the second time in the movie where like Harry just kind of like dissed Neville really meanly. He's like, Neville, no offense, but shut the fuck up. And it's
Neville,
like, oh my
I
god,
really
that's
need you to stop talking. Yeah, when they're walking up to
I
the
don't care about plants.
when they're walking up to the second task too, Neville's like, "You seem tense, Harry," and Harry's like, "Do I?" Yeah, Neville gets shit on a lot. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think he gets the W in the end though.
he does. In the third task though, yeah. So Harry and Cedric.
He also goes to the ball with Harry's future wife. Sorry for a sidetrack.
He does do that.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, they both get the cup at the same time. And I think from this point out in the movie, like the whole Voldemort return section is probably like the best part of the movie.
It's pretty
like,
badass.
I think it is the coolest. It's kind of when they drop the whole dorky kind of facade and really go in on like the cool shit. So when they get there,
the only
Cedric
problem I had is that
go.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I was probably gonna say exactly what you were gonna say. They just kill off Cedric so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been a pretty big part of this movie. Pretty good new character, and then they're just like, all right, you're dead, boy.
Yeah, I kind of like that though because it is like it's showing Harry that that's just how it happens. It's not like always this big ceremonious thing.
Yeah, you're right.
I do like that, and I think it's pretty crazy because like the series hadn't really done anything like that yet. Killing a child, and then Harry has this confrontation with Voldemort, which again is like really cool because like Harry pretty much like thinks he's gonna die. Like he's pretty convinced he's gonna die, but he's like, I'm going down swinging. Like
that was a pretty badass scene where Harry like hide behind the rock, and then like the music cuts in. Harry like takes a deep breath and then just stands up and walks straight towards Voldemort. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that is cool. And I think Voldemort like returns. So yeah, when he like Peter Pettigrew is there and he cuts Harry and takes his blood and then has like the bone of his dad and then cuts his own hand off into the cauldron to bring him back. Like that's some pretty cool like villain shit. The fact that he was brought back from like, such evil dark magic. That's cool. And then all the followers appear and you get to learn like, okay, so like Lucius Malfoy is definitely like a Death Eater and like Crabbe and Goyle's parents are Death Eaters. And then, they set up some cool things where it's like, oh, this Death Eater is missing and this one's at Hogwarts. And, so obviously you eventually learn who those people are. And one of them's Snape. But like, I think it does a good job of setting up the rest of the franchise because it's like, it's a good introduction for Voldemort, like real Voldemort, not like, like Voldemort was technically in 1 and 2, but like this is like Voldemort himself. And I think it's a good introduction for him.
Yeah. I'm wondering it was probably covered in the other movies, but how did he get to be little baby Voldemort?
Yeah. So that's because of his Horcruxes. Do you remember what those are?
Yeah. The 7 X's.
Yeah. So he basically like can't die. So he possesses other vessels. Like he can possess snakes and stuff, but eventually they die, and that's what he did to Quirrell. So he has to keep like possessing objects and then jumping until he can get his actual body back, which he did in this movie.
So, but he still has the Horcruxes after.
Yeah, because he has 7.
Okay.
Which like Dumbledore was like shocked by. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that they do like, in the first movie, Harry's able to defeat Voldemort just by touching him because of his blood or whatever.
And then Voldemort's giant, disgusting finger touches Harry's. And you know what's even weirder about that? I don't know why they added this. This is like the most unnecessary thing in the entire movie, filled with a lot of shit. This was the most. There was this scene where like Voldemort's finally alive. Like he's rebirthed. He's walking around. He looks down at Cedric Diggory and he puts his bare foot on his face.
Yeah, he sure
And it's
does.
like, oh, poor boy. It was like, why? Like,
I guess
'cause
it's like a disrespect thing, but yeah, it is
maybe
gross.
it's a British thing, but that was
It's a British thing.
I thought. I don't know.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe who knows? But that was the point where I watched that and I'm like, I hope nobody involved in this scene has a foot fetish.
For Voldemort.
Yeah.
I will say, if like my friend died though, and like some greasy bald dude put his foot on his face, that would make me pretty angry. That'd probably.
I would be pretty angry. I would probably laugh maybe just a little bit, but
Yeah. I don't know if I'd laugh in that situation, but I'd probably be like, dude, really?
like if my friend was alive afterwards, or like if I was able to like talk to Cedric's ghost like on a like regularly, I'd be like, you put his foot on your face, dude.
Yeah, and then Harry, what I like is that Harry doesn't like win. He just gets lucky because
Yeah, a bunch
they
of
have
ghosts come out.
their wands are connected, and
Harry, I want you to take my body to my father.
take my body back, will you? That's a sad scene too. So when Harry
It
gets
was
back,
pretty sad.
when Harry gets back,
and can I also just say, like, when they were doing the wand thing, there's a lot of fluids coming out.
oh sure,
Do you remember that? Yeah. I just had
Well,
to point
good.
that out.
And when they get back, that's a sad scene. Is when they get back and everyone's celebrating, and no one knows anything's wrong yet, and then like the band like slowly dies out.
Mm-hmm.
And what always makes me sad is that his dad is like, "My boy."
I was gonna say, I thought it was kind of ruined when his dad goes, "My boy." He,
Oh
like,
really?
says
I
it-
think that's sad.
I mean, it's a sad, but like he like says it so he bellows it. He
Yeah,
really bellows it.
his son fucking died.
I mean, yeah, it seemed like a little over the top, though.
Fine,
Who knows?
whatever. Tell me. But I don't know. I've always thought that scene was like pretty eerie because like it starts out with the celebratory music,
Yeah.
and now it's like, ugh. And yeah, and then we have our big reveal, and that's pretty much it. And then Barty Crouch is revealed to be Mad Eye Moody, which
And then
is
Mad Eye Moody's at the bottom of this fucking treasure chest.
yeah.
And then something. So they go from this scene where this is actually a pretty cool scene, where what's his? I almost said Gandalf. Dumbledore tells the whole school that, like, Voldemort killed Cedric Diggory, and I
Right.
thought it was pretty badass because like the way the camera was moving and like the words Dumbledore was saying, it's pretty cool. But then they go directly from that scene of Dumbledore saying Cedric Diggory was murdered by
Lord Voldemort.
Lord Voldemort. They go from that to Harry, Ron, and Hermione in like the square of the Hogwarts square, and Ron like puts it. He's like really chuckling, and he's like, "Are we ever gonna have a quiet year?"
Mondays, am I right?
Yeah, it was literally. And it was like, what kind of transition was that? Like,
it is
this
it
guy
is very sharp.
Yeah, it was like, okay, they really didn't watch this part, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then they just fly off, and then the movie is over. I think this one is, like I said, I like it, but I definitely think this is like kind of one of the dumber ones, which is like Madame Maxine and like Professor Dumbledore. Could you feed my horse's malt whiskey? Like it's just like a lot of like weird shit. It's like
there's a lot of weird shit in this one.
Yeah, the Quidditch World Cup. I mean, it's cool to see like the Wizard sporting event and stuff, but we also don't get to see any of the sporting event, which is kind of lame. Like,
yeah, we watched like one more. Okay, but also it was really dope when the Death Eaters came and like started burning everything to the ground.
Oh yeah,
that was
that's
a
a
pretty
part
dope
that's
scene.
that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of really cool shit in this movie, but a lot of it is really Harry, Ron, and Hermione being like real dorkies. Like,
Yeah, there's just I feel like this movie could have cut out a lot of stuff, or at least like
mhm.
made a lot of stuff shorter.
Yeah.
Um, and it would have I think it would have been a little bit better. But
Hmm.
I'd say like the last 30 30-ish minutes, 30 40 minutes. Yeah, the last 30 minutes. Um, are like really really strong. Like once Harry ends up in the graveyard, it's just like
Hmm.
really good from there.
Yeah, I would agree. Everything else is like, if you like Harry Potter, you're probably gonna like everything else because it's just, you know, it's fun to see the characters just stick around and be themselves or whatever. But it's not like, you know, it's not like the other movies where there's like revelations like sprinkled throughout the whole thing. Like, like there's the part in, like, Harry finds out that Sirius is his godfather in the middle of Prisoner Azkaban, and we build from there. This one is like pretty much everything comes at the end. Like there are hints to like the larger plot at hand, but they're not like Harry doesn't even really take notice of them. So like
Yeah,
I think it feels less like a mystery in this one.
I
So
agree. There's always a little bit of a mystery in each movie that's always like hinted at here and there. But
mhm.
I feel like the mystery with this one wasn't as like, you know, it comes when Snape Snape opens up Moody's like drink and he goes, Polyjuice potion. And closes it.
I guess we know who's been stealing from my reserves. Or maybe Dumbledore says that.
Yeah. Which is a little bit of a plot hole. Because they had the truth serum, right? They could have like honestly given it to just like every single suspect and then just like could have just been like, okay, who was it? And just
Yeah,
figured it out
so
from the truth serum.
that's how, J.K. Rowling tends to go with these things. Is fucking she creates these like objects in the universe, and it's like, why don't they use that for fucking everything? Like, why wouldn't they use the truth serum to prove Sirius is innocent? And why wouldn't they you know, why wouldn't they use time turners more often? And they could make very simple explanations in the movies or the books, but they kind of just don't bring them up. Like if they wanted to say
Yeah.
like oh, Veritaserum only works like when they consent to it or something like that, but or like you can still resist it, but they don't say that. They just say it works. And like the time turners, if they were just like, oh, they only go back a certain amount of time, then like no one would ever question that shit.
Yeah.
But
I
whatever,
mean,
it's not enough
that's
to
one of those
ruin the
things.
movie.
It's a kids movie, and there's gonna be kid. It's sort of a kid movie, and it's like I know it's there just to
Push the
getting
plot
upset
forward.
about it. Yeah, getting upset about it will just like it takes more effort, and that's just not really.
Oh yeah,
It's not worth it.
definitely. But end of the day, I think this one's fun. I like I said, I like it more than most people. I think that's just because I kind of like the whole series of obstacles that we're doing, like the 3 challenges and stuff. Like I like that, the competition thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
also like that.
so I think I excuse it more than most people. But yeah, I still say Chad.
Yeah, I'll give this one a Chad. I think for the most part, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Um. So Chamber of Secrets still your least favorite for sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, mine too, obviously. But these movies are like they're just so like easy to watch, so
Yeah, I
comfortable.
can't. They're like comfort food as a in a movie. But
Totally.
the issue is like when I watch one of them, I wanna watch them all.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So
That's why
that's
I like
I'm
I
probably
have it.
gonna yeah
No,
I'm
go.
probably gonna watch the rest of them in the next like 3 days.
Yeah. I always find that like if I'm like gonna watch Harry Potter, I have to do 1 through 8. But
Mhm.
I can never be like I'm in the mood for Harry Potter 3. I can't
Yeah.
do that. It just feels weird. Like that, and it's not the case with any other movie franchise. Like I'm never like, oh, I want to watch, I don't know, Return of the Jedi, but I guess that means I'm gonna watch Phantom Menace all the way through. Like nothing else is like that. Like this is the only one. But if it's on TV, like if Order of the Phoenix is randomly on TV, I'll totally put that shit on as background noise. That shit is the best like TV to have on in the background ever. That and Impractical Jokers are
I was
like,
literally about to say, what about Impractical Jokers?
oh yeah, no, those two things are like, if Impractical Jokers aren't on, usually the Harry Potter movies are on, and they're always on in the background in my house.
You know, it'd be funny. What if for one of the episodes we reviewed like season one of Impractical Jokers?
We could,
We really could.
totally could.
That might be down.
We should discuss.
Yeah. If we have any
Yeah.
fans watching, which we
Let
don't.
us know who your favorite Joker is.
Yeah.
Mine's Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. I got it.
Heyo. Okay. But yeah. Tune in next month for another episode of Harry Potter.
Yeah, and but by the way, if we're like recording these like pretty recently after we recorded the first Harry Potter episode, so if there's any like we talked about this, if there's any like major news that we're just like being very ambivalent towards,
Yeah. Quick, Tommy, make a huge prediction.
was that the right word?
I don't know.
Ambivalent? I don't think.
Neglectful,
Oblivious.
maybe?
Yeah, there's a word for it. I don't think I'm using the right word. But if we're just like not acknowledging a certain event that's going on, that's why.
No, let's pretend to acknowledge one right now, Tommy.
I can't believe Trump was a firebender the whole time.
I'm quite shocked that the meteor missed the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
That's what's shocking to me.
Could you believe? Bye.